Would you consider yourself to be a transformational leader? How about your boss? How can you tell if a leader is truly transformational? Well, wake up, leaders. This is Glenn Guyton, your cultural futurist and keynote speaker, helping you to unlock the power of your people. Welcome to another episode of my executive coffee break. I have my beverage in hand. I'm just drinking water. Today, they say you can't choose your family, but you can choose your beverage and your workplace culture. My goal is to equip you with effective strategies to foster a culture of innovation, reduce workplace stress, and elevate team performance. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please do that for me. I would appreciate it. Well, today I want to talk about transformational leadership. I'm really focusing on innovation in the workplace. What are the key drivers of innovation? And one of the things that I know makes a difference is transformational leadership. So what does a transformational leader look like? Are you a transformational leader? Do you have to be a transformational leader? You don't. I don't think every leader is going to be transformational. Every leader doesn't drive significant innovation. There's a question of what innovation even is. But what are some characteristics that we look for with good leaders, great leaders, transformational leaders? What are some of the characteristics that we want to look for? I always make this distinction between leadership and management. And that's kind of my thing. Managers really work with the status quo. They maintain, they keep things running, and we need managers. We probably need more managers than we need leaders, but we do need some leaders, especially as we seek to grow and change and do things differently. So let's talk about a few of these characteristics. First of all, I think a leader has to be a visionary. They have to create and articulate clear and compelling goals, a compelling vision for the future, right? There are some people that are good with the present, but there are some people that need to continuously look toward the future so that we can continue to grow, that we can reach for those yet unobtained heights. So we need visionary leadership. And they focus on positive change and they focus on growth. Good visionary leaders. I guess there are some leaders that can do this and focus on bad things, but we don't want to talk about them. Next, inspirational motivation. I do believe that transformational leaders inspire. Transformational leaders inspire and energize their team. They foster enthusiasm. They foster commitment. The team members begin to believe in themselves. There's clear communication, and there's a healthy optimism about the future. I think that's really important. And this is one of the reasons I enjoy the work of being a cultural futurist, is that we have to be optimistic about the future. We need more of that. We need more of that in the workplace. We need more of that in politics. We want people to believe that there's a bright future ahead. And that gives everybody else something to fight for. If you are a leader that's doom and gloom, why try? If it's already a fait accompli that things are going to be bad, things are going to turn out horrible, why even try? We need leaders to say, hey, the best is yet to come. Are you that kind of leader? Do you want to be that kind of leader? I've worked with so many people that are down on themselves. Oh, I make mistakes, so I can't do anything right. And I say, hey, not around me. I'm not going to allow you to talk about yourself in that way. And I'm not going to let you bring down the rest of the team. No, we all make mistakes, yes, but we want to continue to move forward. We're going to grow, we're going to improve, and we're going to learn. That's part of this transformational leadership, that positive vision. And now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be unrealistic, right? We don't want to be unrealistic and, oh, everything's fine, and the sky is actually falling around us. No, you have to be realistic, but you want to be optimistic that you can turn things around. I think every leader should feel like, hey, I can make this thing work. Just give me the time, give me the right people, give me the resources, and I can make this thing work. If a leader says, well, I don't know if we're going to make it, I think we're going to fail, get them out of there. Get them out of there. Now, there comes a time when sometimes you do need to shut the door, but make sure that that's the time, and the leader is not the one that's pushing you over that edge to shut things down. The other piece of this is individualized consideration and showing genuine concern for each and every person on the team. Now, I really love that. I was a teacher for a while. I taught middle school for a while, and one of the things that I appreciated about teaching as I was going through my classes was this concept of differentiated education. So like different kids need different things. You have to teach things in a way that the learner can grasp it. And we don't do enough of that in the workplace. We say, hey, we hired you. You just need to get on board and do the job. But I learned early on in my career that wasn't the way to go. We have to show genuine care and concern for each and every team member. Each and every team member needs to know how they fit into our system. We have to help people to grow professionally and even personally. I think we need to have some care and concern for the people that work for us to make sure that they have a good, healthy balance in their life, and then they can show up and be their best selves at work. Number 4, intellectual stimulation. I think that this goes along with being a visionary type of person. Leadership is intellectual stimulation. People want to continue learning. I think that leaders that are transformational always want to learn. They want to say, hey, what's new? What's new? What can I learn? What can I learn from what's going on in the future? And what can I learn from things in the past? So they're reading books. They're trying to get knowledge, but they're also applying this knowledge. They're not just the kind of person, I'm gonna go to seminar, and just keep learning and never execute these things. But I believe that transformational leaders need that stimulation. They want to challenge the status quo. They encourage creativity. They invite their team members to think critically about what's going on and look for new and innovative ways of doing things. I work with some teams where I said, hey, let's do this. Let's try out this idea. I want to create whatever. Just say, hey, I want to create box A, and you give it to a team, and a team I think that's inspired by their leader will say, okay, hey boss, you want box A, but what if we do this? What if we combine box B, box C, and we turn it into triangle Q? And I'll be like, yeah, that's a great idea. I hadn't even thought about that. And so if people feel like they can experiment, they can take some risk, and you give them an idea, you say, okay, I want this product that looks like this. And they'll say, hey, what about if we make it like this? It'll be better, and we'll only have 3 points to worry about versus 4 points because people like triangles. Triangles are hot now. I don't know what it is. I'm just using that as an example, but that's what we want to create in the workplace. We want to create an environment where people are inspired, that they feel like, hey, this is my project. I can take hold of it. I can shape it. I can be creative, and I can take some risks, and I can think outside the box. And my leader is going to appreciate that because they don't like the status quo either. And they want to learn, they want to grow, and they want to see new things. They want us to try new things. So I think it's important that intellectual stimulation is very important, and transformational leaders need that in their life, and they need that from their team members. Next is number 5, high emotional intelligence. I believe that transformational leaders possess strong emotional awareness, allowing them to connect with team members on an emotional level. And this is not to say that all transformational leaders are always the most sensitive or empathetic people, but I think they realize what their limitations are. I think they realize ways to connect with specific people in ways that are meaningful to them. Doesn't mean, I think sometimes people that are strong empaths have a particular way of connecting with people. They're really sensitive and feeling to those things. I think that you can have transformational leaders that are more empathic, but I think that transformational leaders can manage the emotions in a different way. Like sometimes I feel like I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or anything like that. I think sometimes empaths kind of take on the emotions of other people. I think that transformational leaders can kind of sense it, but they're not necessarily burdened by it. That's my language. They're not necessarily burdened by it, and they can kind of navigate emotions in a way that an empath may not be able to. Again, some of you all, I have friends that are much smarter than I am on that topic. You all feel free to jump in and talk about it. But I do know that a good leader, a good transformational leader can find ways to connect with people at a level, at a place where it's appreciated, so that they can get the most out of their team members. And I think they're genuine. That's the one thing I should say about that they have genuine emotional intelligence. So they know their limitations, and they also have a sense of where they need to connect with the people that they are working with. Number 6, they lead by example. Transformational leaders model the behaviors and attitudes that they expect from their team. They exhibit integrity, dedication, a strong work ethic, and setting a high standard for others to follow. I think that's really important. Just as important as visionary leadership is leading by example. And if I want to describe that in a different way, I would say that leading by example means that you have a core set of values that you follow as a leader, that your team members know what that core set of values, what they are, and it permeates the rest of the organization. So leading by example is that the leader has set a style, has set a tone for the rest of the organization, and that tone is clear. Like you hear that tone, you can see it, you can smell it, you can breathe it. It permeates the organization, and it filters down from the top all the way down to the bottom. So it's important that leaders lead by example and not say one thing and lead another way. I just hate that, or have no type of leadership strategy that people can really point out. Yeah, it needs to be clear. This is the type of leader I am. These are my expectations. These are my values, and this is how I lead the organization. Number 7 goes back to kind of what I was talking about with intellectual stimulation, but we'll call it empowerment. They empower their team by delegating authority. And I like that. Delegating authority, encouraging autonomy, and fostering a sense of ownership. So I mentioned that earlier, but that sense of ownership, empowerment is important. I think that the transformational leader realizes that the leadership position isn't a dictator position. Like, they don't have to do everything. They don't have to make every decision. I often tell my people, my job is just to stay out of your way as a top leader, is to stay out of your way and ensure that you have the tools to do your job. Leaders don't need to be, they lead by example, but that doesn't mean that they're fiddling with everything. Imagine you are the CEO of a power company, because I work with power company. I like power transmission companies, one of my favorite groups. But say you are the CEO of a power company. Are you out flying the helicopters? And are you out with the lineman with that little grounding stick touching wires? No, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be coordinating the efforts, making sure that the helicopter is in good working condition, because you've empowered the maintenance people, you've hired the right maintenance people, you got the right equipment coming, that the linemen are well trained, that you have the good systems, a fortified bunker where people can manage the operations of the organization effectively. That's your job as a CEO. You're not out there cutting down, sawing down trees in the middle of the hurricane. We don't need you out there doing that. Make sure the people that are out there sawing down trees in the middle of the hurricane to restore power have the tools and equipment that they need, because they are the experts. You're not the expert as the CEO. You're not the expert of every little detail in your organization, but you ought to be expert of running the organization. All right, let me hurry up and finish this. Also, focusing on long-term goals. That's another important part of this transformational leadership, that you're not short-sighted, but you're looking toward the future. Part of being a visionary is focused on these long-term goals, but not just pie in the sky type things, because you can dream, but you also want to make sure that you have some concrete goals and concrete strategy for achieving those goals. That is an important part of transformational leadership. Well, I hope those things help you. It's been my pleasure to share with you today. My name is Glenn Guyton. Don't forget that leadership matters, so you might as well get good at it. You all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.